Hi, this is Kevin Deal from Upscale Audio, and today we're going to have a Kevin is annoyed at the industry day. Why am I annoyed? I just came back from the Consumer Electronics Show, and I noted that some companies have raised speaker prices or come out with new flagships that are just like so frickin' expensive and have nothing to do with what it costs to build them. I've noticed that manufacturers, I've been getting kind of ticked off about preamps, and that's my rant for today. I noted some years ago, it's been happening over the last maybe 15 years, that every year manufacturers are raising prices and they're putting fewer and fewer parts into the box. And I think that for consumers, they go, oh, yeah, but it's a good sounding preamp. Well, if it isn't a good sounding preamp, I mean, that's the news. Of course it's a good sounding preamp. You can make a good sounding tube preamp, retail it for $1,200 and make money. And I'm talking about something that would sound, reasonably good. So what's the deal with these guys jacking up prices so much? This is what happens. There's no new designs in preamps. There are none. Nothing. Now, balanced audio has transformer coupling, and that's kind of a new thing that really isn't done by anybody, but outside of that, there's no new designs. It's going to be one or two tubes and an FET or a JFET, or it's going to be multiple tubes, and as you get into their more expensive designs, it's always going to be more tubes and hopefully more transformer, and that's what you're paying for. So then manufacturers go, well, this is a trickle down of our flagship design. And it's not a trickle down. It has nothing to do with their flagship design, and I'm just calling bullshit on it. Listen, you gotta use Google Images. Type in the model number of the product you're thinking about. Use Google Images, look inside the box, and you don't have to be an engineer, but you can kind of count up parts. There is no such thing as fairy dust. And you have to look at the weight of the product. So there's so many preamps selling for $4,000 or $5,000 that weigh only like 13 pounds, and it's just a handful of parts, and I call bullshit on it. They could sell that preamp for $19.99 and still be making bank. Now this is this is a good preamp. It sounds good. Why wouldn't it sound good, right? Major name brand, $7,000. But I mean, it weighs 16.3 pounds, and it's a nice, neat preamp. It's got a nice transformer, and then a couple of tubes and JFETs. The volume control is made up of 4 chips called DSS 16610, as I recall, and I think those are about $4 each. But that's about it. I mean, it's a nice, capable, well-built preamp that will serve you well. For me, I want to know that I'm getting something for my money, and I have to tell you something. This preamp gives you something for your money. This is the balanced audio technology VK-33. It also sells for $69.95, but it doesn't weigh 16.3 pounds. It weighs 38 pounds. What makes it different? Well, instead of 2 tubes and some JFETs, it has 3 tubes per channel, wired in parallel internally, then in parallel to each other to give you a nice low output impedance. That's how you get the best sound, is by using more tubes, but it costs more to do that. The very best preamps in the world are going to have something, and I want you to remember this. The best tube preamps are going to have either tube rectification with a 5AR4 rectifier tube, or tube regulation, or a tube current source, which is what BAT does here. So it uses a couple of 5881s as a current source. I'm telling you something, it costs a lot more money to do this than it does to use solid state rectification. Let's talk about the cost of transformers. Transformers are the most expensive part of a preamp, period. Manufacturers always use R-core or C-core transformers because, I mean, they work fine, you'll never know the difference, and they don't cost a lot. Balanced audio technology uses toroids. And I gotta say, my hats are off to them, because I don't think any customer would and I hope they don't watch this video and get any ideas from me saying this. I'll probably regret this, but look, it costs a lot more money to use a toroid, but not only do they use a toroid, they use two toroids, one for each channel, a healthy toroid. That's why this thing weighs so much. Toroids don't radiate as much noise and junk as a regular transformer does. And when you do that, you're working to drop noise floor, getting dynamic range, getting the difference between light and dark, and loud and soft is not a matter of getting more power from your amplifier. That's the dumb way to do it. The smart way to do things is to drop the noise floor. That's how you get inner detail. That's how you get a sense of space. And you get to hear the breath of a voice and guitar strings that just trail on forever. And using a toroidal transformer is part of that equation. The volume control that they use is something that they invented years ago. Instead of a chip, they use laddered resistors that are mounted onto a board and then are controlled by a controller board. It's kind of like using what's called a stepped attenuator. Stepped attenuators are really the gold standard, but then you don't get a remote control. But a stepped attenuator is laddered resistors on a big old clunky control. So now if you want to have a remote, this is the smart way to do it. Again, it's a more expensive way to do things, but they don't compromise on their build. It has balanced in and out as well as single in and out. You can match levels between inputs. Now that's kind of a cool thing. So if you've got a source that plays louder than another and you switch from source to source and one of them's blowing you out of the room, you can adjust for that internally on the preamp by adjusting the input sensitivity of that for that source. So all your sources play at the same level, which is really, really nice. You also have what's called unity gain if you want to put it into a home theater system. And it is truly a balanced design. So if you decide to get a truly balanced system, that can be a benefit. It uses 6 6922 tubes, and that's kind of cool because we have the largest inventory of vintage vacuum tubes in the world. So I can take this preamp and I can twist it and make it sound any way you want to make it sound. So getting perfect synergy in your system is a matter of a gentle nudge. And we can do that by just changing 2 tubes. You want a little bit darker top end? No problem. You want a little bit more of an iron grip in the mid-range? Use a Siemens. You want to use a little bit more sparkle on top? Use an Ediswan or maybe a BEL Mullard that was made in India. I mean, we got the goods and we know what to do. Come and shop at Upscale Audio. We make special buys. We always have the best price because we buy in volume. We have the largest inventory of tubes in the world. We have great specials, showpieces. We got a huge showroom, 10,000 square feet, $5 million in inventory. I got the cool shit. I've been doing this for a living for 40 years. I love doing it. When I get off work, my wife is annoyed because I ignore her. No, actually, my wife loves this stuff as much as I do. I'm the luckiest guy ever. And and I'll help you get the hookup. I promise you, I will take care of you like it's my system at home. Thanks.